What's up, y'all? It's another Breaking Bad boxing preview and prediction here for you. We have a great fight this weekend between Nicklaus Flaz and Tiger Johnson. Before we get started, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We have a very interesting stylistic clash here between 29-year-old Nicklaus Flaz, 15 wins, 2 losses, 10 of those wins coming by way of knockout, orthodox fighter fighting by way of Puerto Rico, fighting the ex-Olympian and Delante Tiger Johnson, 16 wins, 7 of those wins coming by way of knockout, 0 losses, 27-year-old fighter fighting by way of Ohio in the United States. Both these fighters, orthodox fighters. You have Nicklaus Flaz, who's a career-long steady made at 147 pounds, has been there for quite some time. And then you have someone like Tiger Johnson that moved up from 140 pounds recently over his last 2 fights to 147 pounds. Very interesting stylistic clash up here. You have one fighter that is very gritty, great at working his veteran tactics, and then against a former ex-Olympian who I think is still trying to shed his former amateur shell and kind of build into the pros as well. So I'm curious to see how this fight goes from an X's and O standpoint, but let's get into the tape study and let me know what you guys think about it. So let's get into it. Nick versus Jahai Tucker. In this case here with foot positioning battles, anytime Nick Flaz would get into a foot positioning battle, he did a great job at gluing his guard hand to his chin. But anytime they would throw in an exchange, he did a bad job at dropping his guard hand in these exchanges. He was very high and upright in exchange, did leave his chin quite a bit exposed, but he did a really good job with Tucker punching with him. He punched with him going both forward and going backward. Nick is a little bit flat-footed, and he does have a habit of crossing his feet, but he does have good footwork for someone that is so flat-footed. He has a really good right hand to the body. He throws it in, multiple levels and in variation too as well. Throws it straight, throws it in hooks, throws it in shovel variations. Round 2 was a true vet lesson here for Jahai Tucker. He learned a vet lesson from Nick Flaz. He was getting peppered with rights to the body. Nick Flaz started getting the jab off, cutting angles, firing off on those cuts, pulling Tucker into punches. Tucker's best success, in my opinion, against Flaz was when he was getting under Flaz's punches and getting under Flaz's lazy jab, which Flaz isn't always lazy with the jab, but he has plenty of moments where he definitely pokes it and sticks it out way too long. I think Nick Flaz had issue when Jahai Tucker bend his knees and have level changes. I thought Flaz's best defensive ropes was when his own back was against the ropes here. He didn't need to rely on his flat feet, and he could really just use his upper body movement and his head movement and his reactions. He was catching and firing, especially on Jahai Tucker when he had his own back against the ropes. There's a kid-like spirit that Nick Flaz fights with when you watch his fights. He fights with this tongue out, I like to fight you on the schoolyard bully mentality. He seems to be having a lot of fun in there, and that's a really dangerous fighter when he's someone that is so confident. He had a few moments of swinging and missing here against Jahai Tucker, but Jahai Tucker is pretty defensively sound. Jahai Tucker had a lot of moments of landing shots down the center line on Nick Flaz with Nick Flaz's minimal head movement. Early in the fight, Flaz likes to pull you into traps, but then as the later the fight goes, he really just likes to make it a fight. I really like his offensive angles, how he steps off the front foot and how he steps past your shoulder and throws off stepping past your shoulder. Nick Flaz versus Luke Santamaria. Flaz did a really good job fighting behind his jab, especially early in this fight. You had Santamaria that was fighting in an orthodox stance for the first round for the first 2 minutes, and then he decides to go southpaw with a minute left in this. And then you see Nick Flaz probe with the left to the body and barely miss with a right hand up top. You're going to see Santamaria switch from orthodox to southpaw till he finally eventually lands back in orthodox. And when he does, he stops his feet, damn near takes a picture at Nick Flaz, and gets dropped with a 2-1-2 right down the pipe by Nick Flaz. Just beautiful IQ, beautiful way of setting it up. He saw that he was switching his stances with no real set or bait to it, and the minute he stopped his feet, he threw it down the pipe and he landed and crashed on him. Beautiful body work early and often, brutal left hands to the body anytime that Luke Santamaria would land in the southpaw position. Anytime it was in the orthodox position, it would be the right hand that would crash into the body. He kept running Luke into rear uppercuts and rear hands, which I thought was beautiful. Again, with the vet lessons, man, round 3, true vet lesson. Kinetic punches that he was chambering, movement and angles, fought at all levels, long range, mid range, on the inside. Absolutely teed off on Luke Santamaria in this case. On the inside, Luke Santamaria had a few moments of throwing body shots on the inside in which Flaz had to eat, but he kept returning fire on the same inside body shots. The inside foot position, he kept lining up the right hand all night on Luke Santamaria. Great variation of inside fighting, weaving, dipping, catching, and shooting. He's not necessarily Shakur Stevenson, but he has really good inside fighting and a little bit of catch and shoot to him. He pulled Luke Santamaria into the straight right that dropped him and essentially stopped the fight. And the stop and start that we saw from Nick Flaz in this was something that we didn't see in his last fight, where he was pulling him into the traps, stopping on a dime, and throwing off that stop. So we have Flaz versus Gomez in this case here for you. Flaz's angles were a thing of beauty in this fight, man. He was just working Gomez from angles all 10 rounds. There literally wasn't a single moment in the 10 rounds that he'd stopped his angles. He was just putting him consistently in a dogfight, consistently turning Gomez. He came out a little bit swaggy and confident from the first round, and you saw it all 10 rounds on. There's something about the confidence that Nick Flaz is building fight over fight, and you see it in the tape too. He is just growing in confidence. He broke down Gomez with the pace, pressure, and body work. Only issues Flaz really had with Gomez was moments when he got a little bit lackadaisical, kept his head over the center line, and got caught by Gomez. Bro was so confident. He fought, and as we know, Nick Flaz, orthodox fighter. He fought all first 5 rounds in orthodox position, came out round 6, fought the whole round in southpaw. Defensively looked sharp, offensively looked sharp, fought the last 4 rounds bath in orthodox, but it was just awesome to see him come out, switch stance for a full round, and look confident in a pro fight for it. I do think Flaz lacks a little bit of punch power, just pure thudding punch power, but what he makes up for in punch power, he does make up for in volume, so. Flaz versus Alan Sanchez. Man, Flaz was on the gas early and often, throwing shovel hooks and punches to the body. Good variation. Good stab jab of Sanchez that had a bit of success on Flaz, but outside of that, there was really no success from Sanchez. It was all just a stab jab. The sweeping left hand caught Sanchez as he was retreating off the ropes, and it stung him very early. You saw his legs kind of stiffen. It was a systematic breakdown here from him. He was drilling him early with the sweeping left hand, kept his foot on the gas, banged away on the inside with shots to the body. He would just get out of range anytime Sanchez would try to return and fire too as well. Just the way he was holding his range and holding his feet was absolutely incredible. There's also one thing I really do want to note about Nicklaus Flaz too as well from the tape that I saw since the Jahai Tucker fight. Luke Santamaria fight. I had him clearing Luke Santamaria 5 rounds to 0 before stopping him in the 6th. The Alfredo fight. I had him clearing Alfredo 3 rounds to 0 before stopping him in the 4th. Christian Gomez. I had him clearing all 10 rounds in that fight against Christian Gomez. And Alan Sanchez. I had him 3-0ing Alan Sanchez until the 4th round when he finally stops him. What am I trying to say here? Nicklaus Flaz, in my opinion, has not lost a round in 24 rounds. 3 of those rounds, including stoppages. Let me repeat that. In 24 rounds, Nicklaus Flaz has not lost a round in 24 rounds. There is something to be said about high confidence in a fighter and someone that is building at the right moments, and he's only 29 years old. So what do I not like about Nick Flaz? His confidence is glowing. His fight over fight improvements are just absolutely insane. Incredible body work, angles, pressure, gears, and volume. Very confident. Can fight at all levels, inside, mid-level, mid-range, outside. Inside fighting is great with great variation. Likes to drag you into deep waters. And holy shit, is he a consistent fighter. He is the pillar of consistency. When you turn on the tape and you turn on his fights, you know what you're going to get with Nick Flaz. What do I dislike about him? His upright stance, his flat feet. I think he lacks athleticism. He doesn't have the greatest reaction timing that can cause him to get pinged, and he can shut off at moments. Maybe loves a fight a little bit too much as well, as he's a good boxer, but he likes to turn him into a little bit of a firefight, maybe a little bit too much. So let's talk about Tiger Johnson. I apologize about this. I'm going to have to bust out notes on my phone because I was at the dog park watching the Zaina fight, so I wanted to make sure I got my notes off. So Tiger versus Zaina. The athleticism pops for Tiger right away. Fleet of foot, very fleet of foot. Long, sharp jabs, really good timing, especially early in the fight. He can hold his feet that can cause him to be hit a little bit, and he's super susceptible to the left of the body versus Zaina. Really liked his reaction timing, and he was a really active counter fighter. His reaction timing was really good, and he would counter off his reaction timing. Not overly high in volume, very calm, but he seems to stay in too much of a lower gear. I question his gears here, especially in round 3 when he hurt Tariq and he didn't capitalize off of hurting him. He seems to be bothered by body shots. It seems to make him stop in his tracks and reset anytime he's smacked too hard to the body. He had minimal issues in this fight winning the foot position. He was almost always winning the foot position and foot battle. He started adding a little bit of thud to his jab and hammering it down the pipe after round 4. Tiger has a really good base, really good athleticism, and he doesn't leave it often, but you did see him lose his base in the last 10 seconds of round 4 and again in round 7. Tiger had moments of being uncomfortable when Zaina was on the pressure. He had Zaina lined up for a left hand all night, but he only threw it in rounds 5 and round 8 and slightly in round 10. I felt Tiger had some gears he could have went through to beat Zaina, but we never saw it. I absolutely love Tiger's rear uppercut, though. I think his rear uppercut's a thing of beauty, and it landed at will in this fight. Tiger Johnson versus Yomar Alamo. Early in this fight, I really loved Tiger's defensive exits. He was exiting at an angle. Fight over fight improvement, which I think we got to see, is I think he found the timing on his right hand far earlier in this fight. Long and mid-range game, he was winning the foot position battles. You definitely see the Olympic pedigree come out when he's looking for these foot position battles. His high-low jab use is really good. Stabs it to the body, comes back high, and he switches it. And there was a long left hand from Alamo that landed in the second round that seemed to stun Tiger. But I think Tiger has some of his best work when he's catching his opponents over their long right hand. So they'll throw the right hand and he'll punch over their own right hand. Tiger is far too willing to accept the back foot position and fight on the back foot. We did see in round 4 him start to go through the gears and start to put his punches together a little bit. But every time he seemed to start eking away from Alamo, Alamo did just something just enough to kind of make the fight a little bit closer. You start to see Tiger's tires flatten just a bit the later the fight went on. On the inside, especially around 6, Alamo got Tiger off of his game plan, forced him to fight on the inside, and tapped away to the body many times that clearly bothered Tiger. You saw it a higher pace, higher pressure fight. I think over 10 to 12 rounds, this can really cause an issue with Tiger. And anytime he gets on the inside and gets too uncomfortable, he'll initiate a clinch. Against the wrong referee, especially over 10 or 12 rounds, this could be an issue for someone like Tiger Johnson, who quite frankly initiates the clinch way too often. Clinch and minimize is definitely a part of his game plan. And I think it's going to have to be a part of his game plan against Nick Flaz here. Tiger Johnson versus Kendo Castaneda, his first fight at 147 pounds. I thought his tires flattening against Alamo definitely had to do with the weight cut. And you saw at 147 pounds against Castaneda, Tiger looks way more filled out, way more solid, bigger back, more sturdy. He fought more on the front foot, a lot more body work and a lot more volume, which I didn't see in his last 2 fights. He almost neglected the body work in his last few fights. A lot of stop and start. He landed a right hand with 10 seconds in the first round that stunned Castaneda. Johnson used feints in this fight, a lot of catching and shooting on the back foot with his backs against the ropes. Not a lot of great knee bend and level changes, which I think gives Nick Flaz issues, which stylistically I would like to see for Tiger Johnson going against Nick Flaz. The rear uppercut to the body and just overall was a thing of beauty in this fight. He held the real estate on Keon Castaneda, dictated where the fight took place. It's very fun. You see Nick Flaz in round 2 of all of his fights step on the gas. You see the same thing with Tiger Johnson, but in round 4. Come round 4, you know he's going to step the foot on the gas. So in this fight, look out for this. Nick Flaz to win round 2 and Tiger Johnson to win round 4. I would almost guarantee on the scorecards we see that. So that's a little cheeky prediction that I'm going to make, is that Tiger Johnson will win round 4 and Nick Flaz will win round 2. Castaneda was hurt in round 10 with a sweeping left hand when he was exiting off the ropes. And then I love that we saw in round 5, Tiger Johnson go through the gears, put the volume on, and get Castaneda out of there. You saw Tiger versus Boa Chica. Man, this fight sucked. Tiger Johnson was on the back foot, super low volume, which seemed to regress from his last fight where he was on the front foot and throwing out higher volume and actually throwing out body shots and body work. His range management and feet were great in this fight here. Boa Chica really had no issue, or really had a lot of issues covering the range, getting inside on Tiger Johnson. He was just really holding the real estate of the ring. He pulled Bo into a lot of rear hands, both in the uppercut and the straight hand variation. Again, Tiger initiates the clinch way too often. He got caught at the mid-range by a right hand against Bo that was almost in a chopping variation, and he got caught coming in lazily. Though Tiger's cardio doesn't look bad and his shape doesn't look bad, I think he's never been pushed through the gears. I don't think he ever really goes through the gears to where he has to use a lot of energy. And even his own coach was asking him to let out the gas tank to go through the gears to throw punches, and he just did not do it. I know Tiger's with a different camp too as well in this fight, and it's always interesting to me when fighters change camps. He is so young, so he's always learning fight over fight and camp over camp. So this is not something to look too deeply into, but I always have a theory that fighters take a fight or two to really get settled into a new camp and a new trainer. So what do I like about Tiger Johnson? What do I dislike about him? His athleticism just pops off the screen. His jab, his rear uppercut, good mover, good feet, accurate puncher, great reaction timing, very calm and patient. Maybe a little too calm and patient. And when he lets his combinations go, they're really nice. What do I dislike? He lacks in volume. He lacks in body work. He can get stuck on the back foot, seems to check out. And I think he's kind of stuck in that amateur shell where he's just okay with that pop shot, trying to fight for foot positioning battles, doesn't really turn over his punches all that often. So how do I see this fight going? Over a 10-round fight with Nicklaus Flaz versus Tiger Johnson, I have to be completely honest, guys. I have a hard time seeing how Tiger Johnson's going to win 6 of these 10 rounds clearly versus Nicklaus Flaz. Nicklaus Flaz, again, is a pillar of consistency. We know he's going to come forward at a high confidence rate. He's going to work the body early and often with both hands. As we know, Tiger Johnson doesn't really like to be hit to the body too often. Tiger Johnson, I think, holds a clear athleticism gap here, holds the jab advantage. I think at the longer range, he's the better fighter. But the issue is I think Nick Flaz has good enough offensive angles and crafty enough defensive angles where he's going to be getting in and out safely. And he's going to be able to get that body work off, that volume off. He's going to be landing up top and high and low. I really favor Nicklaus Flaz in this fight, guys. I think Nicklaus Flaz gets it done on a 7-3 kind of scorecard, and it looks pretty clear. I would not doubt if he flattens the tires of Tiger Johnson and maybe even gets a late drop of Tiger Johnson, maybe dropping him an 8 or 9, clearing the scorecards, making it pretty clear for him. So officially predicting it, I really like Nicklaus Flaz here by decision. I like Nicklaus Flaz to get it done. I just think it's a really good style matchup for someone like Nicklaus Flaz, where we saw Alamo and we saw someone like Boa Chica, who are nowhere near the punchers with the great punch variation, nowhere near, in my opinion, the athletes, even though not that Nicklaus Flaz is a great athlete, but nowhere near the fighters that Nicklaus Flaz is, getting in on the inside of someone like Tiger Johnson and banging away at that body. If Nicklaus Flaz can cut that distance, who's riding in on crazy confidence, again, I don't think he's lost a round in his last 24 rounds. And I don't think Tiger Johnson looked great in his last fight. He looked almost shut off. You have someone like Tiger Johnson that's very inconsistent in his work. And you have someone like Nick Flaz who's super consistent in his work. So, of course, I'm going to take the guy that I think is going to be consistent with his work rate, who's going to throw out the more volume, who is going to be there when the fight gets gritty and dirty. So, all that being said, guys, I love Nicklaus Flaz in this fight. Give me Nicklaus Flaz. Feel pretty confident about it, too. So, we'll come back and we'll see how this prediction goes. That being said, y'all, look out for a few more predictions coming out your way. It's love, it's peace, it's chicken grease. Until next time.